This video is about prioritization techniques. One fundamental doctrine of Agile is that we don't like creating useless features. We don't like creating useless products, useless components, okay? We only focus on features that create value to the customer, features that make sense to the customer. But one thing about engineers is that they are always excited about creating new things, creating multiple features and functions. And sometimes these things that engineers are crazy about do not necessarily align with the customer's interest or with the interest of the end user. Another thing about Agile is that we understand that less is always more. Okay, we prefer minimalistic approach to doing things, and if the client or the customer or the end users ask for more, then we give it. It's better to always start small and upgrade a product even as there is evidence of demand for more. When we talk about useless product, one thing that easily comes to mind has to do with TV remote controllers some years back. You could see that the remote controllers at the time were very long with a lot of too many buttons that overwhelm and confuse us. Meanwhile, most of them we never pressed them. Most of the buttons we never pressed them, and they even confused us. Okay, in this day and age, that is useless. Okay, so we prefer to create things that are useful and only present that to the customer. Anything that is not useful is wasteful, it's redundant, and we remove them as much as possible. So in this video, we discuss some techniques that we can use to prioritize features so we can only focus on that which creates value to the customer. We begin with the Kano model that is used to prioritize features into must-haves, satisfiers, delighters, indifferent features, and reverse features. Now, when you use the Kano model, some of the features that will be brainstormed by the team will be categorized under must-have features. Now, must-have features are basic features that the customers will naturally expect on the product, and because they would expect them, and it's actually part of the mainstream service they expect to see with the product, we prioritize them first. They are very, very important must-have features. In fact, as part of these must-have features, we have a category of features we call dissatisfiers. Now, these are features that if they are around, customers will not necessarily be excited about them, but their absence will create inconveniences. Their absence will cause inconveniences to them. You get, if they are present, they will not necessarily be fascinated about them, but their absence will cause inconveniences and they will not be happy with you at all. For example, when you access a public building and then there are washroom facilities in the public building, you are not necessarily going to get fascinated or excited and say, wow, these people have washroom facilities. It's something you expect. You are not going to get necessarily excited. It is when they are not there that you get very, very upset. You get it. If you are hard pressed and you need to use the washroom, and you don't find washroom in the building, you're going to get upset, very, very upset. Meanwhile, their presence will not necessarily get you excited or fascinated. Okay, they are all must-have features, and for those ones, we classify them under the satisfiers. Let me give you another example. If you are signing up onto a service, maybe an application or a software, okay, typically there is this feature called forget password, so that in case you forget your password, you can use that feature to reset your password and regain access into your account. Now, when you have such an application and there is that feature, that you are not necessarily going to get excited that, wow, they have this feature on the application. It's something you naturally expect. But if you don't have them, their absence will create a lot of inconveniences for you, assuming you forget your password. And this day and age where people are thinking of a number of things, too many things to think about, people are constantly forgetting their passwords. Even you keep forgetting your password. All right. So these features are basic features. They are must-have features, and they usually have to be prioritized first. And then we have what we call satisfiers. Satisfiers are features that improve the performance of the product and make your customers or your end users more satisfied. Okay. So issues like speed, performance, stability, things like that, they make your customers more satisfied. And then we have delighters. Now, delighters are features that customers do not expect, end users do not expect, but once they find them, it gets them extremely excited, it gets them delighted. We call them delighters. They don't expect it, but once they are there, they are all excited about your product. And then we have indifferent features. For these features, their presence or absence will not create any difference to your end users. Okay, don't make any difference. If they are there, fine. If they are not there, no change. And then we have reverse features. As for these reverse features, they should never be done. Reverse features are features or components that annoy your end users. They are features that annoy your customers. They are called reverse features. Some of these features are features that are created as byproducts of the development process, and efforts must be targeted towards removing them before deliverables are shipped to the client. However, others are deliberate, okay, and sometimes they are meant to contribute probably value to the business and not to the customer. All right, so even though they annoy the customer, because of the fact that they annoy the customer, you may have to probably reduce them, okay, so that you can balance these constraints on a project. So this is the Kano model. The next technique we look at is the Moscow analysis. So Moscow is an acronym, okay, and it prioritizes features into must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. So must-have features are features that are basic, just like we said before, and customers expect them. After must-haves, then we have should-haves. Okay, so must-haves come first, and then should-haves also come second, and then we have could-haves, which come third. Features that we could have. Okay, so they are arranged in that order, and then we have won't-haves. For these kinds of features, maybe the team is not ready to incorporate them into the deliverable, and they may be prioritized in the future, but for now they will not be included in the deliverables that will be shipped to the client. So that is about the Moscow analysis. Must have, second should have, third could have, and then fourth won't have. The next technique is the paired comparison analysis, which is a technique that prioritizes user stories by comparing them against each other. It's just a lateral comparison of user stories. So the team will brainstorm, the team would check user story against each other to determine which ones provide more value to the user, and then eventually we'll end up prioritizing some of the features over others. Then finally, we have the 100-point method. Now, in a 100-point method, each team member is given 100 points to cast their vote or allocate to stories in an order that communicates how important they see the user stories. We are all different people, okay? So based on our different viewpoints, our team members will be given these 100 points to cast their votes, okay? So some user stories would have more points than others, okay, according to their preferences or how they see things. And the stories or the points they allocate to the user story should sum up to 100. After the exercise is done, all the points are aggregated, and then collectively we'll determine which user stories have the most votes. That way we can prioritize some user stories over others. Remember, we are still training for your PMP project management certification. Join us for in-person classes in Ghana. Wherever you are in the world, in Africa, Europe, America, you can also join our online sessions. Remember, we have a very strong and effective post-training system to get you to the finish line. Also get in touch if you want to pursue the Professional Scrum Master certification, the Certified Scrum Master, or the Agile Certified Practitioner. Together, we will write that victory song. Thank you very much, and see you in the next lesson.